Hey guys, I already covered several mods of James B546 in the past that add more synergies to existing items. Today we look at the mod Monstro Slang Synergies. The item has a good amount of synergies in Repentance already, but there are still a lot of them missing or boring. So that's why the mod adds 10 new custom interactions to Monstro Slang, so let's go and check them out. Starting with everyone's favorite, Brimstone. The mod will cause the tear burst to fly further away and have the tears create brimstone beams when they hit the ground. The damage of the beams varies at random amounts around your own damage stat. Each beam has its own damage value that will be the same for each tick it deals to foes in its way. The tears will be shot in random directions in a cone in front of your character, while the brimstone beams will be fired in the exact same direction of the tear they came from. Hitting an enemy at a distance can be quite difficult due to the big cone and random directions. However, the beams will also be created if the tear hits a target directly. Hitting an enemy with all tears at point blank deals massive amounts of damage if all beams connect. Doing this can easily one-shot bosses on the earlier floors. The same synergy also applies to Azazel's default brimstone attacks, just with shorter beams coming out of the tears as expected. The damage, however, is just as impactful. Tainted Azazel, on the other hand, is a special case. His synergy creates regular sized brim beams instead of his usual thin ones, and they also don't deal less damage as usual. This is especially insane if you apply the Brimstone curse, and most likely just an oversight by the creator that will get fixed. Next up is the new Monstro Slang synergy with the Spirit Sword. The swing attack is unchanged, but the charge attack will create a volley of sword tears now. The amount of projectiles in each barrage slightly varies from attack to attack, but the damage dealt by the swords will always be as high as your own damage stat. Csection is an item that just overrides Monstro Slang in Repentance. However, the mod will make them synergize by shooting a baby barrage whenever the charge is full. The synergy also comes with a slight tear rate increase, which means that you shoot faster while also creating more fetus shots per charge, a really powerful boost. The fetus shots come out in random angles in a cone in front of your character, but this doesn't really matter much due to them homing in on enemies anyway. Each barrage seems to have a random amount between 3 to 6 babies. You can obviously combine this new synergy with even more items. Adding Technology 0 is especially powerful since all the lightning beams will connect with the target. I also discovered this funny looking glitch that happens when you add the Spirit Sword to the babies. It seems like each fetus will spawn an additional set of new shots. This is not just a visual bug, the fetuses actually deal damage, however they quickly fly in a random direction and die on impact, so you have to be lucky with the angle. Up to the next new synergy, which is Chocolate Milk. It will cause your tears to be released as a constant stream that lasts longer the more you've charged them. This also means that you can stop your charge at any point to release a smaller barrage of tears if needed. You could even shoot single tears, but that's not very effective. Just like with the Brimstone synergy earlier, each tier of the barrage of this synergy deals a random amount of damage, varying around your own damage stat. I have to be honest here. The idea of the synergy is great, but the overall DPS is actually considerably lower than just the lung alone, which holds it back quite a bit. Halfway through the showcase and still 6 more synergies to go. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider liking it and maybe even subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot and is much appreciated. The next new synergy in the mod is a really fun one, Dead Onion. It will replace your barrage with one giant tear that rolls over the floor and bounces off walls. The important part here is that each tear can hit the same target multiple times. I want to make this clear, as this isn't the case for all items in Repentance. Here's an example of my reflection with piercing tears. You can make this mod synergy even stronger by adding more range to it, so that the tears last longer, as well as having them grow in size and damage with the lump of coal. Another interesting new synergy in the mod comes with the Antigravity item. It causes your tears to float in the air for a bit instead of directly falling on the ground. This does not really change your overall DPS, besides the small tears up, but the floating tears will make it easier to hit moving enemies, especially those that follow you. Adding Death's Touch to this combo is also really fun, as it creates giant floating scythes. Just keep in mind that each scythe can only hit each enemy once with this one. The Cursed Eye also got its own synergy with Monstro Slang and this mod. It will simply add a huge amount of additional tears to your barrage in exchange for the usual teleport effect. However, it is important to note that the teleport will only trigger if you get hit while charging the barrage. It will not activate if you get hit while it is already full. The next one is an addition to an already existing synergy. Terra plus Monstro Slang already grants you a rock barrage in Repentance, but the mod will add a little extra. As you can see, each fully charged tier volley will also create a rock wave on the ground that goes in a random direction and deals heavy damage to enemies in its path. 2 more synergies to go before I show you all of them at once. The new synergy for Sad Bombs will cause your bombs to shoot a tier barrage directed at the closest enemy. This is obviously way stronger than the default effect of Sad Bombs, as it adds more tiers while also targeting an enemy, which will be really powerful at point blank. This is of course most effective against bosses that survive the initial blast of the bomb, but it will also be helpful against regular foes if your bomb fails to hit them. The last new synergy basically works the same way. The effect of Temmis Head will also switch from a ring of tiers in all directions to a targeted tier barrage. Keep in mind that I use an infinite active item charge cheat here for an easier showcase. You can obviously not spam it like this in a real run, but it is way better than the usual Temmis Head nonetheless. Just like in all my other showcase videos of these synergy mods, I will now show you if all the synergies inside of it work combined with each other as well. This one is not nearly as crazy as the final result in some of the other videos where my game nearly crashed, probably because a lot of the synergies get overridden. However, I still think it looks really cool, and it is also crazy powerful, especially if you just constantly release the minimum charge barrage thanks to chocolate milk. Keep in mind that these mods are not balanced or even coded around having all of the items at once. That would be ridiculous. Not even the base game does that after all. Anyways, let's finish the floor and see if the boss stands a chance. And if you want to see more of these modded synergy videos, then make sure to check out the new playlist I created. Well, it turns out the boss didn't stand a chance. Who would have guessed? That was it for my showcase of the Monstro Slang synergy mod. I really hope you enjoyed it enough to consider supporting the channel. Either way, I hope to see you again in my next Isaac video. Bye!
He's the number one,
Isaac!
God's favorite son. His flowing robes reach down from heaven.